Hey, Adam.
Hi, Anthony.
This is a very special edition of We Don't Know How to Love Him because we are in the same place.
Oh my God, which is why the audio is so poor.
Well, we'll see. I mean, I'm going to work my magic on it.
I believe it. Why are we in the same place?
Because I came to Chicago this weekend to see the star of Evita herself, Miss
Patti LuPone.
No, not that one. Madonna. The one and only.
The one and only, the legend.
Madonna's celebration tour, 4 decades in music.
Wow.
Iconic. And while I'm here, I thought we could take the chance to do some catching up. We also have Sunset Boulevard to catch up on, which I saw in London.
You're on a tour of Lloyd Webber these days.
I really am. Should we get into it?
Sure.
All right.
Let's start.
I'm Anthony Ruth.
And I'm Adam Hidma.
And we don't know how to love him. All right, Adam, I don't know where to start. There's so much to catch up on. I think we have to start by saying we talked last time about dueling Normas. And we had Nicole Scherzinger in the West End. We had
and Sarah Brightman.
Yes, the announcement of Sarah Brightman. Yes, in Australia. And was Andrew Lloyd Webber hoping for a Broadway revival? And who would be the Norma on Broadway? And now we have an answer.
There's one Norma to rule them all.
And it is going to be Nicole Scherzinger.
Wow. Not Sarah.
No. I mean, who knows? There could be 2 revivals. Maybe Sarah will replace.
Oh, maybe. Maybe one will be on Broadway, one will be off Broadway. Have they ever had, like, dueling productions in New York?
That would be, if they were ever, it would be Andrew Lloyd Webber.
Absolutely. The only thing I could think of is there were, like, 2 different Wild Parties once, but they were, like, by 2 different composers.
I know, that was strange.
This could be that.
It could be, but same composer. He loves to fight, even with himself. Well, he did fight with himself. Because Patti told that famous story that he was like, I'm going to pull my score from this production of Sunset Boulevard when he was unhappy with it in London. And she's like, you're the producer, you nimwit. Like,
it's really funny.
Oh, I don't know if she called him a nimwit. That was my addition.
She called him something probably much worse.
Probably worse, yeah. But anyway, Nicole will play Norma Desmond on Broadway this fall. The Jamie Lloyd production. Same principal cast.
I can't wait.
Do you think you're going to go see it?
I mean, if I'm with people who want to see it.
Well, all the people that you know who want to see it already saw it.
Oh, you're right. Oh, I might not have to go. Though, would you want to see it again? Would you want to see it on Broadway?
I wouldn't make a special trip, but if I were with people who wanted to see it, I would totally see it again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was totally thinking maybe this fall I'd be seeing it, but you're right. Everyone in that group already saw it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, so I did see it in London, and I'm going to talk about it, and there might be some spoilers, so if you want to see it and you don't want to hear too much about it, you might want to skip this episode, or at least skip this part. This will be the main focus of the episode. I saw it in London. I really liked it overall.
When did you see it?
I saw it, I think the day after Thanksgiving.
Okay. Was it in previews? Had it opened?
It had opened. It had gotten strong reviews, but I had avoided reading them because I really wanted to kind of experience it as, freshly or as kind of unbiased, yes.
So tell me your history with Sunset. So like, what is your relationship to this material?
Okay.
Before we jump into.
Sure. So when I was in Joseph in the early 90s, Sunset had just been completed and was like getting ready to open in London. So that was kind of the big deal that was Andrew Lloyd Webber's new show at the time. So it had this kind of like aura in my mind of like, ooh, this is the new Andrew Lloyd Webber. So it was very much on my radar, something to see. And then I didn't know a lot about the London production because there wasn't internet back then. And I just didn't know much about it, but I did hear more about the US production.
Okay.
With Glenn Close.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yes. And I saw actually a special, I think it was on A&E at the time, which used to be Arts and Entertainment Television. Now, is A&E still a network?
I think it's still there.
Okay.
It's just called A&E. Maybe, I don't know.
It used to stand for Arts and Entertainment.
I never knew that, actually.
Yes.
Huh.
And they had like a special about the making of it.
Okay.
With Glenn Close. And I heard some of the music. And I really liked it. I heard With One Look. Oh. And I was like, ooh, I like this song.
They don't want me anymore.
That's not how it goes. They don't want me anymore?
They all say I'm through. Is that just Barbara's version?
That's Barbara's version.
Oh, I didn't know that there was a different... Oh.
I knew when I noticed you were singing what I would call the wrong lyrics, I knew that you were singing Barbara's version.
They were the original lyrics that I guess got changed.
Well, right. Oh, because she recorded it before it opened.
Famously.
Yes.
Patty was not happy with that.
No, we talked about that on our first Evita episode. But no, I liked the song a lot. And so then the highlight CD came out and I bought that. Mm-hmm. And that was the same summer as Pocahontas.
Okay.
The Disney movie.
Wow. And
I noticed that the voice of Pocahontas sounded a lot like the voice of Betty Schaefer. And that was Judy Kuhn.
Oh.
So that was also my introduction to Judy Kuhn.
You had a keen ear back in 97 or whenever it was.
I did. It was around that time. And then I read a review of the American cast recording and it was saying how great it was and how it had dialogue and all these things. And I was like, well, I have to get that. So then I got the double CD.
Wow. Did you get the London CD?
No, I got the American. Because I was in America.
Wow. What is it? 1776 again?
No, but I was totally I totally got swept up into the PR machine that was like Glenn Close is Norma Desmond. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, that was tailored for you.
It was. Yeah. But I never saw it. I never saw it on stage.
Wah, wah.
I know. And I came to Chicago with Diane Carroll.
Okay.
What?
Nothing.
What?
I just said okay.
We'll cut it out. What?
Well, we probably don't want to spend too much time. Or are you wanting to get into the full history of it? Or
you asked me for my history.
Did you see it with Diane Carroll?
No.
Okay. So that's not part of your history.
Yes, it is, because I wanted to see it.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Okay. We're leaving this in.
I wanted to see it.
Okay. You wanted to say, I'm so sorry, listener.
Because it was at the Civic Opera House in Chicago.
Oh, was it really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
And it was like the whole production with the big house that moved on hydraulics and everything.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't know any of this.
This
is a big deal. I'm learning.
It was a big deal.
I'm learning right now, listener.
It was a big deal. I didn't see it. And then I didn't see it on stage until the Broadway revival with Glenn. Which was in like the mid 20-teens.
Yeah.
Which was not the same production, but it had Glenn. It had a lot of the same costumes. I think she wore her same costumes.
And that was like 20 plus years after she opened the role.
Yeah. And so I saw that one and I liked it a lot. I thought it was very inventive. That was directed by Lonnie Price. And it was very creative because it was originally a concert staging. And why are you...
There's nothing now.
You're making these faces.
Oh, no. I probably always make these faces when we're in the same room.
Well, part of my desire to see Sunset back in the day was I wanted to see it with the big sets and the big house and everything. But the Lonnie production was very inventive. They had what I remember was for the car chase scene, they had these crisscrossing staircases and they had actors running down the staircases holding two headlights. So they were they looked like cars. It was really cool.
They just did that in the Sufjan Stevens musical that I saw yesterday.
Okay.
Lonnie did it first.
Maybe he's the director.
No.
Okay.
Justin Peck.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. Interesting. Okay. Well, I heard it's very dance forward.
It is very dance forward.
In fact, it's only dance.
It's dance.
It's not dance forward. It's just dance.
Yes.
All right. Anyway, back to Sunset. So that was my history of the show.
Okay. So you knew about it from inception. You were not able to see it. You yearned to see it for about 20 years. And then finally that yearning was released. Placated, yes. When you were able to see it with Glenn Close.
With Glenn.
Not Patty.
No, I don't think Patty She's done with that show.
She's done with
that show. Although she did sing one of the songs fairly recently with Seth.
Yeah, Provincetown, I think. So you go into this production.
I've seen it before. I'd seen a fairly straightforward production of it, even though it was a concert. And then this one by Jamie Lloyd, very different interpretation. First of all, we talked about Nicole Scherzinger. She's not the typical age of the actress who plays Norma, although she is not that far from the age of Norma in the original story. I think that the concept behind this one, first of all, I wouldn't necessarily call it like meta or self-reflexive, but there are moments of it that are that, and it doesn't shy away from that it is Nicole Scherzinger of Pussycat Dolls fame playing this role.
And someone, by saying that, are you saying like someone who had number ones? Is there any connection there? Like someone who had number ones in like the aughts, but hasn't been as in the music industry making hits in the same way as she did when she was in the aughts.
I think that's kind of what they were going for. I think they were trying to kind of tell a similar tale in modern times with a modern star.
Now, listener, if you are a gay man of a certain age and love pop music, you probably loved the song React that came out, I think, in 2020 of Pussycat Dolls, but less refined people might not have paid attention to that. I don't know if they called it a comeback hit. I kind of hate that term, but may not have paid attention to that.
Yeah. You hate it just like Norma does.
I hate it just like Norma does.
Yeah.
You know, and like Nicole's done a ton of, I mean, wasn't Nicole on one of the Got Talent?
She was on one of those. That's why she didn't do Cats Revival on Broadway.
Yes, yeah. That's why she didn't win that Tony.
Yeah. But anyway, it doesn't shy away from the fact that it is her playing the role. The whole time, they don't try to make her look older. The whole time she's wearing like a black slip, or maybe it's a dress, but it has kind of a slip-like quality. She looks beautiful the entire time.
There's no costume changes.
There's no costume changes as far as I recall. The whole thing is really in black and white. There's not really a sense of time. I think they did try to make it modern in its setting, but to me that didn't really work because there are still a lot of references in the dialogue to like old Hollywood and sound and things like that. So like to me, the modernization of it didn't really work. For me, it worked better to just think of it as like in a sort of timeless setting.
Like, did they have like cell phones or like what was the modernization? Or was it just the style of the people?
I don't remember if there were cell phones. It was more the style. Yeah, like people were wearing like sneakers and it was like modern dress, but also kind of, because everything was so black and white, it was sort of like you could kind of project anything onto it in a way if you wanted to. Okay. So when it first started, I remember thinking like, gosh, this show, and by which I mean the score and the script, I'm like, this show really takes itself so seriously. And that was the first time I realized that.
Really?
Yeah.
Because, you know, I've seen it before.
I know you have seen it, and yes. Do you want to talk about your experience seeing it?
Yeah. I mean, I saw it at Porchlight, which is one of the theater houses in Chicago. I think it's an Equity house, right? Is Porchlight Equity?
I think.
Or at least they have a couple of Equity contracts, and they do a lot of musicals. And it was a great production. I, similar to Patti LuPone, found it really boring. Like, I just found the show boring. I love the movie. Like, I love the movie. I've watched it so many times. I think that Gloria Swanson, William Holden, just brilliant acting, direction. Who directed that one? Oh, I know.
Want me to tell you?
Yeah.
Billy Wilder.
Billy Wilder. My brain was saying Thornton Wilder, and I was like, that's not right. Directed by Billy Wilder. Like, it was almost this, like, early example of, like, the Grand Guignol sort of genre, or the psycho biddy, depending on, has a couple different terms. It's kind of an early example of that, of like the older actress who goes crazy as she loses relevance, kind of that genre from the 60s in particular. But I saw it and I found it kind of boring.
Yeah.
That's my history.
Yeah. To me, it never was boring because I only knew the recording. However, and I do like the music quite a bit, actually. But yeah, this time seeing it, I was like, oh my God, this show takes itself so seriously.
This show or the production?
No, the show. The show. And then the production really works against that. So the production, there's a lot of kind of like self-referential moments. We talked a little bit before about how the second act opens with Joe singing Sunset Boulevard out on the street. Actually, before he's even on the street, so this is definitely a spoiler if you don't want to hear it. Before he's even on the street, he is backstage in the dressing rooms, and he has like a Pussycat Dolls poster or something up, like in his dressing room.
Oh, wow.
So they're really like not trying to hide that this is a show. This is a performance of a show starring a particular star who has a particular history.
Yeah.
He's like interacting with and joking around with the actors backstage during the overture or entr'acte. So like there is no pretending that there's no fourth wall really in this particular moment.
Why does he go outside?
See, I don't know. I really don't. I mean, I think maybe it's playing with the idea that Joe is kind of trapped in this house and in this situation. And maybe that was him kind of like escaping or trying to escape or wishing he could escape, but then getting pulled back in. Because the first act does end with him trying to leave. Then Norma slits her wrists and he gets pulled back in.
On New Year's Eve, right?
On New Year's Eve, yeah.
Does she grab him and bring him down for a kiss?
I honestly don't recall. It's now been a couple of months since I saw it.
Yeah.
But yes, I thought the show takes itself very seriously. The production tries to take itself less seriously. And I do think that is part of what makes this production work, because you don't get so bogged down in kind of the melodrama of the show. And what I will say and have to say, and should have said it at the very offset, is Nicole Scherzinger is phenomenal in this show.
I was hoping you were going to say Patty was robbed, but...
Well, Patty was robbed. I mean, that's a fact. Patty was robbed. But no, Nicole, her singing, incredible. I was hoping so much after I saw it that there would be a cast recording, because I really want her recording of these songs. And now that it's coming to Broadway, I think it's pretty likely there will be one. I don't have any inside knowledge on that. It's just my guess. But yeah, I'm so excited to get that recording because her vocals in the show are just out of this world. And so is her acting. I mean, I really appreciated her in the role. I enjoyed the kind of new take on the show. I didn't like, I had drinks with a friend before and he said he hates Sunset Boulevard, but he loves it now after this production. Like he thinks they like fixed the show. I wasn't coming to it from that place because I already liked the show, but I did enjoy the production. I didn't think that all of it always added up or necessarily worked, but I did really like it. I thought Nicole was amazing. And also on that trip, I saw Cabaret.
Yeah.
And I saw Old Friends, the Sondheim review, starring Bernadette Peters.
We can't talk about on this show.
Well, it was a very interesting trio of shows. It was like Cabaret, this very old show that was redone in a very new way. Old Friends, which was a new show of old material, chock full of incredible top of their game performers, led by Bernadette Peters and Lea Salonga. And then this new production of Sunset Boulevard with Nicole Scherzinger. And they were all just so well produced, so well acted, so well sung, and yet so different, each one of them.
Yeah, that is quite a collection to see.
It was also fun that I ran into a celebrity in the lobby.
Who?
Jane Krakowski.
Oh my God. At the lobby of what?
Sunset Boulevard.
Oh wow. Jane was there.
She was there. I wanted to ask her, doesn't it just remind you of being in Starlight Express on Broadway?
How did you resist temptation?
But I did notice her and I made eye contact with her and we exchanged smiles.
Oh.
So that was nice. Yeah.
Jane, if you're listening, give us a shout out.
Yeah, but I didn't want to bother her.
Remember that cute gay that you saw when you were...
I mean, there was probably only one. No, and then what's funny is I wanted to get a program, but the way I exited the theater, I ended up outside. So then I had to go back in through the front to get a program. And she was also there buying a program. So then I got to see her again. And there were some gays then chatting her up and being like, "You're wonderful." And she was gracious, but I still was like, "I'm not going to bother you."
Your restraint is admirable.
I'm known for my restraint.
You are.
Around celebrities.
Did I tell you I saw Michael Arden at... You knew Michael Arden? So Michael Arden is a famous Broadway director. He directed Once on This Island. Oh, yeah. Yeah, he directed Parade. And he, a former Broadway performer, I don't think he performs as much anymore. He's married to Andy Mantis, who was on Smash. But I saw him in Sidetrack because Andy Mantis was in a production of I'm at Otter's Jug Band Christmas here in Chicago. And so Michael Arden was there. And they were playing Once on This Island on the screen. And Michael Arden was like 10 feet away from me and I couldn't help it. I had to go be like... I just have to say, this production was so wonderful. Thank you so much. Also, he wasn't being like surrounded. I don't know how many other people at the bar recognized him. So I was like, okay, I'm going to take this risk. And then also, he was one of Barbara's Broadway boys back when she was doing her European tour back in like 2007. Okay. And I was wearing my Barbara sweatshirt. So I was also like, I know you're one of Barbara's Broadway boys. So like, that's wonderful. I was hoping he'd be like, "Oh, let me tell you about that," but he was just kind, and then I walked away. I was hoping I'd get the inside scoop on that tour, but no.
Well, I'm sure that he appreciated that, especially with his own production playing in the background. Like that's a super special moment.
I was like, it was too, I couldn't resist it, and I was like 4 drinks in, so couldn't resist it.
You did the right thing.
Thank you.
Someday we should do a bonus episode of all our celebrity encounters.
Oh my God. Like when I was just walking through New York and saw Carson Kressley at a cafe and didn't say hi to him. I just kept walking.
Most of them will be like that.
Yeah.
But I've had a number and it's often in a theater when I see celebrities.
Yeah, that's true. I'd have to think back to those times. It sounds like a great episode. Find us on Patreon. Just kidding. We don't have a Patreon.
Yeah.
I wanted to say that I was thinking about the casting of Nicole and how there's this interesting thing with these celebrities on Broadway who are known more so outside of Broadway at this point than on Broadway and the sort of background that they bring to a performance. Because as you were describing Nicole in Sunset, I was thinking about Lea Michele in Funny Girl and how like Fanny Brice is just pure ambition. And having Lea Michele play a character that is pure ambition really brought this like meta quality to the material in the same way that having Nicole play a fading star brings this layer to it, considering that she's not, popping out those number 1 hits anymore. Yeah. So it's just I don't know if that's always been true in Broadway, but I can just think of those 2 examples as like interesting where it really like adds a dimension to the performance.
Yeah. I want to talk a little bit about Madonna.
Madge.
Because we are in the throes of our Evita section of I Don't Know How to Love Him.
We don't know how to love him.
Sorry. I think of it as my podcast, but I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Wow.
Just kidding. So I saw Madonna last night. We were wondering, is she going to sing any Andrew Lloyd Webber?
We were wondering that. And?
What's your guess? Do you think she did or not?
I think if she sang any Andrew Lloyd Webber, it would maybe be the original song. But I think, yes, she sang 1 song.
You are right. She did sing 1 song. I would have bet in advance that she would not.
Oh.
Because this is like her 4 decades in music. She's got so many hits. I don't think her fans are necessarily... I don't think there's a huge overlap between her fans and Evita fans.
What?
No?
I don't know, the gay men of that era.
Oh, I guess you're right.
I would think there'd be some overlap.
I mean, there's some, but I don't think there's a ton.
Not as much as like, I mean, that's not going to be one of the major hits that her fans are listening to.
That's where I was coming from.
Yeah.
But she did sing Don't Cry for Me, Argentina.
Oh, she sang Don't Cry for Me.
Yes, she did. She sang Like one verse and one chorus, I think.
Oh, thank God. Would have been half the show. She sang the whole thing.
And she was wrapped in a pride flag when she sang it. And then her dancers started going, like, instead of Perron, Perron, Perron. They didn't do that.
Okay.
Because that would have been really bad.
Madonna, Madonna.
They didn't do that either. They were saying no fear.
Oh.
No fear, no fear.
Was it very impactful?
Well, I couldn't really tell what they were saying, but then they put the words on the screen and then I knew. But I was like, I know they're not saying Perron. I think they're saying something about fear. But that was a nice surprise to hear a little bit of that. And overall, the concert reminded me quite a bit, actually, of a Barbara show.
Really?
Yes, because it was
Barbra Streisand, in case anyone's confused.
Yeah, not Barbara Mandrell. It was kind of it was a little bit of a retrospective show.
Mm-hmm.
In the last couple tours of Barbara's that I've seen, there's been a lot of like video montages and things of like kind of her fans over the years and her different styles and different looks over the years.
Yeah. And
certainly Madonna has had different styles and looks over the years. So there were some montages along those lines as well. She also had some performers, one in particular, playing her at different eras.
Oh, that's like Barbara too.
Very Barbara, yeah.
Talking about the timeless concert when Lauren Frost played a young Barbra Streisand.
Yes.
Shout out if you know if you know anything that I just said.
I didn't know the actress's name, but I knew it was timeless.
Mm-hmm. Lauren Frost was also in Even Stevens.
Okay.
She was like, I think, Ren's friend.
Okay. So I was thinking of you, both in terms of Andrew Lloyd Webber and in terms of Barbara.
Yes.
And I also had a thought during the concert.
Okay. I'm nervous. What's your thought?
I think it would be great if they made a movie of Sunset Boulevard with Madonna.
With Madonna?
As Norma.
Really?
Yes.
What does that have to do with Barbara?
It doesn't.
Oh,
but it has to do with this podcast.
Oh.
You thought I was going to say with Barbara.
I thought there was something, I don't know what I was hearing. I always thought Barbara should be in that, but it's probably too late at this point. Actually, she could potentially do it, but she wouldn't. Interesting. Madonna.
I think it would be a great way to bring like a through line to her Evita. And I think she would be great in the part.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see it getting made anytime soon with anyone else. I know there's been on and off talks about it being made with Glenn, but that doesn't seem to have much momentum.
How do you feel like Madonna? Madonna is kind of famously known for her ego and confidence.
Yes.
And Norma, as a character, is so insecure.
Mm-hmm.
And deflects the insecurity, but is so insecure as a character. How do you feel Madonna would grasp that?
That's a good question, because she is certainly very confident and always has been. But that is the challenge. That is acting, my friend.
And she isn't. And as everyone always says, Madonna is an actress.
Yes, with a capital A.
As Patti LuPone always says.
Yes.
Madonna.
She's a movie saver.
She's a movie saver. If I've ever heard her say it once, I've heard her say it 1,000 times.
I just think it'd be very interesting casting. I would love to see that movie.
I mean, I think I would too. Who do you think would be a greater box office? I have no idea. A greater box office draw at this point, Madonna or Glenn Close in that role?
You know, I don't know. I have no idea, because I don't know how much cultural memory there is for Glenn in that role at this point.
Yeah. They'd need, and maybe Glenn could finally win her Oscar.
I don't know.
They would need probably a really like hot young thing in the role of Joe.
Maybe it'll get made with Nicole.
Maybe. That'd be interesting.
I don't really think it's going to happen, but I just had this thought like, oh, Madonna's like the right age to do that now.
She is.
And she could sing that score.
What's the last movie she did?
I don't even know.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
To my knowledge.
Yeah.
I love this idea.
It was just, you do?
As much as I love anyone in the role, I think it's a good idea.
Okay, thank you.
Yes,
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. That's really all I had.
That's all you had?
That's all I had.
How did she sound in Don't Cry For Me, Argentina?
Nice. She sounded great throughout. I thought
Good.
she sounded good.
Good.
Yeah.
She did the song justice.
She did all the songs justice.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
All
Well,
we wanted to update everyone on what's happening with Sunset and Nicole. And I think we're going to drop this in between our 2 Evita episodes.
Ooh.
So our next episode, we will talk about Madonna as Ava.
That sounds great.
Okay.
Okay.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.